an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
Now, following the terror attacks in Paris, President Hollande has embarked on putting together a grand coalition to defeat Islamic State in Syria, involving the UN, America, Russia, and naturally Britain. The British government is keen to join, but faces the little problem of parliamentary approval. Later this week, David Cameron will present his Syrian strategy to Parliament in the hope it will command a majority in the Commons a week or so later. Here's what the Chancellor had to say on the Marr Show this morning.
This week, we're going to step up our diplomatic efforts, our humanitarian efforts, and make the case for a greater military effort against ISIL. And the Prime Minister will seek support across Parliament for strikes against that terrorist organisation in Syria. And look, frankly, Britain has never been a country that stands on the sidelines and relies on others to defend us.
Nick, am I right in thinking that you can see now the makings, the putting together of a majority for the Prime Minister's desire to bomb ISIL in Syria?
Yes, I mean, obviously they're being reasonably cautious in Downing Street because the Prime Minister was still badly burnt by that loss of that vote on Syria in August 2013. But I think they're pretty confident that even now they've got the numbers, because three big things have happened since 3 weeks ago when the Prime Minister was indicating that he was unlikely to have a vote. Firstly, Paris has changed everything. Secondly, Jeremy Corbyn has had what we might describe as a challenging week. And thirdly, the Prime Minister has said that he's going to set out that comprehensive strategy. And Labour MPs who said, we would like to support you, were saying that we can't really do it unless there's a comprehensive strategy. So that is then unlocking Labour MPs who'd like to support them. It's also turning Tory MPs, led by Crispin Blunt, the chairman of the Foreign Affairs Select Committee, who would have voted again. He's now indicating that he possibly will vote for this. And thirdly, the DUP, Nigel Dodds, who has 8 MPs at Westminster, the leader of the DUP at Westminster, he's indicating this morning that if the Prime Minister sets this out, so it looks like the numbers are there now.
The numbers are, and we did indeed hear this morning that BBC reporting the DUP would back the Prime Minister, and provided what the Prime Minister has to say is credible. We're told the Tory rebels, Helen, may be down to about 15, but perhaps fewer than that, and that Labour rebels thinking of voting with the government, or at the very least abstaining, could be as high as 50. What's your intelligence?
A huge number, and actually from very senior people as well. I think that's why there's all this talk of a free vote from Jeremy Corbyn, because actually the number of senior people exiting the shadow cabinet would be, well, I think a challenging week is an understatement, but this would step it up to a whole new level. The trouble they've got is that there is only so much time you can buy with free votes. So there's talk of a free vote on Trident as well, and that's because Jeremy Corbyn opposes the party's policy. This time he will offer a free vote because he would set his own policy, but no one would come with him. And how many times can you play that trick before people say, well, this is a loose conglomeration of individuals, not a party? Do you
think he will go for a free vote in this, though, just because the scale of the revolt, if he doesn't, could be so great?
I think it's very hard. I mean, he's got significant... Maria Eagles just published a piece on New State's website, which is very hawkish. You know, he's got Hilary Benn, his shadow foreign secretary, I think, has been making noises about this. Who is there to support, apart from John McDonnell, in the cabinet behind this position, and a few others, such as Diane Abbott? He's very isolated on this.
I suppose the problem for the Prime Minister is that he, in a sense, he gets what he wishes for, and we begin joining others in bombing, and things don't really change in Syria.
Yeah, I don't think the House of Commons is the primary obstacle facing David Cameron. I think he'll get the votes, not so much because of the case he will make later this week, but because of what happened in the UN last week, where the Security Council agreed on, I think, all necessary measures.
Necessary means.
And they used the word combat as a metaphor, but as a deliberate metaphor, I think. The biggest problem is not the parliamentary vote for David Cameron. It's the diplomatic struggle to agree with Russia exactly how we go about this. Russia are happy to bomb in Syria against ISIL, but they are not happy to do so in a way which, in their words, destroys the statehood of Syria, which alludes to their traditional support for the existing Syria state and Bashar al-Assad specifically. So the high politics of this, I think, are far more challenging than the technical act of getting the votes together.
It's interesting. Very briefly,
Well, I just think that is exactly the problem. What's the end game of this? Russia are very clear they want Assad to stay. Cameron has all the way through said there must be a managed transition. Is he going to get that? But it's very difficult.
Transition can sometimes take a long time.
A very, very long
I
transition.
think that may be the way out.
I've been getting